Welcome in. This is Chiefs Chase. My name is Mike Bassano, and a very Merry Christmas to you. Thank you so much for joining me as the Kansas City Chiefs are 15-1.
Then I start messing up my own guys.
Mahomes out of the pocket.
He got Kelce wide open.
Mahomes to Kelce. Touchdown, Chiefs. Travis Kelce in the pantheon of tight ends in NFL history, and with that score, it makes it official.
The Chiefs go on the road on Christmas Day to Pittsburgh and absolutely crush the Pittsburgh Steelers 29-10 in a game that really wasn't in question in the fourth quarter at all. So here's my number one question. What do you have to say now, Chiefs haters? What's in your little arsenal of excuses as the Chiefs go on the road against a playoff team in the Pittsburgh Steelers and absolutely smack them in the mouth? 29-10, Travis Kelce gets over 1,000 receptions in his career, breaks the Chiefs record for most receiving touchdowns in his career, and how sad must all the Chiefs and Swiftie haters be watching Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes get right back into playoff mode. That's what we watched today. We watched Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes find their groove. The groove we've been sort of waiting for the entire season, and we knew would probably eventually happen, but you had to keep in mind, Travis Kelce's 35 years old, right? Travis Kelce, it takes time. You guys see a guy who's 35, the oldest guy by far on the Chiefs, in a league where the average age is 26. It's hard to get up for every single game. But I think we always had a little bit of, let's just call it faith, right? I think educated faith, but faith nonetheless that Travis Kelce would eventually break free and become the guy that he's always been. And we saw that today. We've been seeing it lately for Travis Kelce. And one thing that's interesting here, one thing that I don't know everybody's going to be talking about, but they absolutely should. The number one thing that's changed for the Chiefs offense over the last couple of weeks has been Hollywood Brown. Lights, camera, action. The return of Hollywood Brown has changed everything for this Chiefs offense. It opens up things for Travis Kelce. Suddenly, Travis Kelce doesn't get double teamed every single play. You have DeAndre Hopkins. You have Juju Smith-Schuster. You have Xavier Worthy, who's emerging as a legitimate NFL superstar. And now suddenly Travis Kelce is open. That's what happens when the rest of the offense steps up. Travis Kelce can start to get his. And the return of Hollywood Brown is a massive reason for that. Because as great as it is to have a speed demon in Xavier Worthy, having two of them changes everything. I always point to the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. If one of them aren't playing, it changes the entire offense. So having two speed demon players on your offense, it opens up everything for everybody else. And that's what we're seeing with Travis Kelce right now. The explosive Travis Kelce at 35 years old running roughshod in the open field because the defenses can no longer put two or three guys on him. Because if you do, they're just going to drop the ball to Xavier Worthy, drop the ball to Hollywood Brown, maybe hit DeAndre Hopkins or Juju Smith-Schuster, maybe even Noah Gray. There's too many weapons on the Kansas City Chiefs for a defense to truly key on Travis Kelce anymore. So with Hollywood Brown getting healthy, DeAndre Hopkins becoming more comfortable with the offense and getting better chemistry with Patrick Mahomes, and then the emergence of Xavier Worthy, you add all three of those things together and you have a Travis Kelce gets to eat like a dog, man. He just gets to eat. And that's what we saw today in Pittsburgh for the Kansas City Chiefs. An absolutely brilliant all-around team win for Kansas City. We start off with the Patrick and Travis stuff because, hey, Travis just got over 1,000 yards receiving, or 1,000 receptions, in his career. Patrick Mahomes got him there, right? Also Alex Smith, but Patrick Mahomes got him there today. Also, the most receiving touchdowns in Kansas City Chiefs history and a dunk on the goalpost that Tony Gonzalez himself said that he would pay the fine for a few weeks ago. So it was a brilliant Christmas, a very Merry Christmas for the Kansas City Chiefs as they walk into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers down. I don't remember the last time, maybe not even all this season, that the Chiefs had a game where the other team just flat out quit. It became clear to everybody that the Steelers just got outclassed. They don't have the players. They don't have the talent. They don't have the coaching. They cannot touch the Kansas City Chiefs. And that became abundantly clear today as the Chiefs secure the 1 seed. The Chiefs won't play another meaningful football game for 21 days. That's the dream, right? It takes away some of the drama from the NFL, but it'll be right back in the divisional round of the playoffs. But as Chiefs fans, that's exactly what we wanted. Exactly what we could have possibly asked for the Chiefs to go out and take the 1 seed. I cannot stress enough how incredibly impressive it is and how hard it is to go 15-1 as back-to-back champions. The last time the NFL had back-to-back champions, it was the New England Patriots in 2005. They started off 4-4 and ended 10-6 because you're getting everyone's best shot. You're everybody's Super Bowl. So the ability to go out and win 15 games out of 16? What? That's so incredibly difficult. And what the Kansas City Chiefs have accomplished this year should go down in the history books as one of the greatest teams in the history of football. 15-1, while every team looks at you as their Super Bowl. Every team circles this game and says, that game we have to win because it's great for our job security. It's great for our fans. It's great for attendance. Beating the Kansas City Chiefs for 31 teams in the NFL means everything for them, and they still can't do it. The Kansas City Chiefs 15-1 with the biggest target on their back imaginable because even the 2005 Patriots didn't have Taylor Swift in the skybox. The biggest target imaginable in the NFL is on the back of the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're 15-1. Cry about it. What are you going to do, right? What a brilliant season so far, and now the regular season, for all intents and purposes, is essentially capped. 15-1. The Chiefs will likely, if they play the starters at all against Denver, it'll be in the first quarter or the first half. Andy Reid, his history tells us we're going to see Carson Wentz for 4 quarters against the Denver Broncos in Denver. So, hell yes, this is the dream. Like, I know there's been a lot of tumultuousness with the Kansas City Chiefs this year. A lot of people thinking that they're just not that good of a team. Well, what those people are haters. Do you know what scoring 30 points really means in the NFL? Nothing. No one in the world cares about scoring points except for Chiefs haters. They set this ridiculous benchmark. Well, you have to score over 30 points in a game. Why? Answer the question. Why do you have to score over 30 points in a game? You're 15-1. The Chiefs don't care about your meaningless stats and your talking heads on TV using point differential to try to make themselves feel better while they're crying themselves to sleep at night because the Kansas City Chiefs are the 1 seed in the AFC. The one thing that nobody in the NFL wanted, to go through Arrowhead to get to the Super Bowl. That is the one thing that nobody in the entire league wanted. And it's the exact thing that they officially have as of today. Merry Christmas, haters. Enjoy your coal in your stocking. You 100% earned it. All of you are on the naughty list. I see the comments. You're all on the naughty list. Well, let's go through it. We got a lot to get to in this game. Thank you so much for joining me again here. A very Merry Christmas to you and yours. I told you, no matter what, we're doing a Christmas show. I'm at my parents' house, so different background, but we're doing a Christmas show. We're doing one after every single game. That is my promise to you, and I am always a man of my word. The NFL hates Christmas cheer. That is the first thing I want to talk about. That penalty against Xavier Worthy after his touchdown, where all he wanted to do was spread a little Christmas cheer, throw some presents into the bag for Hollywood Brown, and then Hollywood throws it over his shoulder. And what? He lifts his shirt up a little bit and they throw a penalty? This is why the NFL is the no fun league, and this is why people look at the NFL as being stuffy. It's a stuffy league. You can have Beyonce as your halftime show singing country songs all you want to, but you're not fooling anybody, NFL. You are a stuffy, elitist, crap league that really, if it weren't for the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't think the NFL would even be that popular. If it weren't for the Kansas City Chiefs drawing Taylor Swift fans, drawing haters, drawing a lot of eyes to their games, why would anybody even care about the NFL? I'm kidding. I'm being facetious. But at the same time, I saw a guy have fun for 3 seconds. It took about maybe 3 seconds total, that celebration for Xavier Worthy, and they threw a flag on him? Get out of here. NFL hates Christmas cheer, and they're very fortunate to have the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll tell you that, because that has been a huge, huge deal for the NFL. And you want to tell me that the NFL is favoring the Kansas City Chiefs? Every small penalty that could have been called on Kansas City today was called, and even some of the ones that were a little ticky-tack, like the excessive celebration penalty against Xavier Worthy, which, by the way, did cost the Chiefs an extra point. Now, a little bit of that falls on Harrison Butker, because it is a kick that Harrison Butker should 100% make. But I hate seeing these penalties against guys like Xavier Worthy that are doing nothing more than having a good time. That bothers me. It frustrates me to no end. But can't take down my Christmas, NFL. Hey, Roger Goodell, you can't take away my Christmas cheer, because the Kansas City Chiefs are 15-1 in the solidified number 1 seed in the NFL.
Worthy in motion.
It's like man coverage.
Mahomes rifles. Touchdown!
Boom.
He hits Watson for the score.
And Patrick Mahomes is so back. What an absolute beast day for Patrick Mahomes. Over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And you still have all these casuals on the internet being like, well, Patrick Mahomes is a turnover machine. In the second half of this season, in the last half of the season, Patrick Mahomes has thrown 18 touchdowns against 2 interceptions. What do you have to say about that? Keep telling me how Patrick Mahomes is having an off year because you don't understand how football works. Keep telling me how Patrick Mahomes just isn't even a top 10 quarterback. Have you seen these lists from these clowns on the national media that have Patrick Mahomes outside of the top 10? Imagine being such a dunce at watching football that you should have to wear a cap, sit in the corner, and stare at it while everybody looks at you and laughs because you can't dissect a football game to save your life because you have Patrick Mahomes outside of the top 10 in the NFL? Who raised you? What are you doing? So those guys, wear your dunce cap. Patrick Mahomes goes in, throws for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. The actual numbers, the total numbers for Patrick, 29 of 38, 320 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. And there will still be people out there that doubt the greatness of Patrick Mahomes, that think Patrick Mahomes just isn't the same that he used to be. But if you watched the games this year for the Kansas City Chiefs and you saw how porous the protection was, then you knew Patrick Mahomes never fell off. He just wasn't getting protected. But since Joe Thuney has moved outside to left tackle, it sacrificed a little bit of the rushing game because of how good he is as a guard, but it has saved Patrick Mahomes in this passing offense by giving him enough time. It's not even ample time. It's just decent, average NFL time as a quarterback. And what we've seen as a result is Patrick Mahomes making it rain against NFL defenses, including the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field on Christmas Day. If that's not a statement by Patrick Mahomes, if that's not seen as a massive statement game, then you're just not paying attention. So that's another statement from Patrick Mahomes. And he's had a few of them this year, especially in the last few games. So with all the haters just lining up to try to take him down, the number one thing you have to remember about this team, and the number one thing you have to remember about Patrick Mahomes, is when the December time comes, when the playoff time comes, when the season starts to get down to the nitty-gritty of who's going to be the best elite teams in the league and who's not, Patrick Mahomes will always be the man that you want under center. And anybody in the NFL saying that they would rather have somebody other than Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback is either lying or a total ignoramus. Those are the only 2 options. Because anyone who's actually watched it and seen what Mahomes has done this year, how well he's played despite having no time in the pocket, which that's gotten better since Thuney's moved out to left tackle, and how he's played despite a bunch of his weapons getting injured. They're all back now. We're finally seeing what Patrick Mahomes was supposed to be this year, because you can't expect a quarterback with no offensive line and no weapons to play well. But now that the weapons are back and the offensive line has gotten to a point where you can at least call them average, Patrick Mahomes is playing like the all-pro that he's always been. 0 fall off has happened. Anyone who ever said that was a casual, and anyone who believed that, I'm so sorry for you. You should listen to people who are smarter.
Watch those escape lanes.
3rd and long. Mahomes shovels it on a floater.
Oh!
It's caught. with a flag down. Samaje Perine, excuse me.
Just saying. We got a lot more to get to, and I'm already all fired up, man. All right. Let's see. What do we want to do here? Mahomes is back. Well, I do have a question. Mahomes haters, where are you? Where are they? Probably at home, wishing that they didn't just see the game that they saw. I see so many people who say I'm glazing Patrick Mahomes. They want to hate on Patrick Mahomes so badly. Okay. What about today? What about the last 8 games? Makes you think that Patrick Mahomes is anything other than the best quarterback in the NFL. And you guys can keep hating. You can keep coming after me. But at the end of the day, 15-1. The best quarterback in the league. And I'm sorry that you have a hard time accepting that. It must be very difficult to be a Patrick Mahomes hater because you spend your whole life, all your free time, hoping for the downfall of a phenomenal human being. Only to have that phenomenal human being put the team on his back, even if it's in a dire straight situation or if it's in a blowout against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he is legitimately Superman. Imagine hating Superman. That's what so many teams in the NFL, so many fans in the NFL do. They hate Superman. How could you ever be that sad in life to hate Superman? All he does is help people and win football games. Come on now. Now let's go to the defensive side of the football because without Chris Jones, that defensive line stepped up huge for the Kansas City Chiefs. 5 sacks on the day, including 2 racked up by Mike Dana. Mike Dana have a day. Without Chris Jones on the field, you knew this defensive line was going to have to step up and make some miraculous plays happen. And my God, did they get after Russell Wilson. They shut him down. To have a defensive line game like that, with Chris Jones injured on the sideline with a strained calf, the amount of confidence that has to give the rest of the defensive line going forward into the playoffs must be phenomenal. And it is a hugely important thing for the Kansas City Chiefs as they go into the playoffs needing a lot of depth at the defensive line. And with the return of Charles Omenihu, changed everything for this defensive line. The Chiefs early on in the season, pass rush was a major problem. There were a lot of times where I'm watching the game and going, man, they just can't get any pressure on the quarterback. But since the return of Charles Omenihu in the second half of the season, I have not once gotten angry about the pass rush while watching a Chiefs game. They aren't going to get to him every single time. But there's never been a time where I'm sitting there wondering for an entire quarter, why aren't they getting to the quarterback? They're getting to him consistently. We saw it again today in Pittsburgh, and if that intensity and that level of play from the defensive line continues into the playoffs for the Chiefs, along with the home field advantage and Patrick Mahomes currently playing at an MVP level, nobody, and I mean nobody in the NFL, will be able to stop the Kansas City Chiefs, the absolute wrecking ball that is the Kansas City Chiefs. Awesome play. Karlaftis got one. Tershawn got in there, man. That was awesome. And King Felix from Kansas State, the former first-round pick that I think a lot of us have looked at as, I don't want to say bust, but somebody that hasn't quite lived up to expectations yet, right? That's a fair statement. Felix hasn't lived up to expectations yet, but that sack today, if that can turn a corner for confidence for Felix, that could change the entire dynamic of this Kansas City Chiefs pass rush and turn it into not only a juggernaut, but a juggernaut with legitimate depth, where you can have guys come in to spell certain players who are injured and still get consistent pressure on the quarterback, which is so incredibly important when it comes to the playoffs, because you're playing against the best quarterbacks in the NFL. If you don't get pressure against them, you're done. So for the Chiefs to have that kind of confidence coming to Felix, that kind of confidence coming to Mike Dana, and have a great day as a defensive line against the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, that's so huge moving into the playoffs, because it could really change the dynamic of the Chiefs for the better moving forward.
Kareem Hunt in the backfield. Give it to him. Hunt running hard. Cuts it inside for the touchdown.
Now, this is an interesting take. I want to get to Hollywood Brown here in a second, and Joshua Williams, Kareem Hunt. We have a lot left to get to. But this is an interesting thing I was thinking about today. Last year, the Chiefs played at home on Christmas. They didn't look good, right, against the Raiders. Devastating game. It really shook, I think, everybody from the fan base to the players, and they got everything together, right? They've lost one game. Since Christmas last year, the Chiefs have lost one game. But I was thinking about it today. It's kind of hard to play at home on Christmas. Think about it psychologically. Just from, you try to put yourself in the shoes of the Chiefs players or really any players that are on the road or at home on Christmas. If you're at a hotel, you wake up, you're with your teammates, you're talking about the game, you have a meal together, you're sitting there, you're locked in from the second you wake up until the second the ball is kicked. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you're Russell Wilson and you're at home, you have your kids, you have Christmas, you have family obligations, you have things you have to do in the beginning of the day that have nothing to do with football. So having to transition from, oh, nice Christmas day, everybody's happy, it's a soft day. You feel a little soft on Christmas. I think we all do. You have your sugar cookies, you have your turkey, you have a little bit of candy for Christmas, maybe some peppermint chocolate bark, and you're a little bit soft on Christmas. We all are. So when you have Christmas at home and then you have to go play a football game, transitioning from that soft Christmas loving mindset to being violent, it's hard. That's a tough transition to make. Going from happy Christmas times to violence is not an easy transition. And at home, you have to do that. On the road, you put Christmas on a different day. Like if you have a family, let's say Patrick Mahomes' family. I think they posted a Christmas photo, but who knows when that was taken, right? Christmas, you just say, we'll have it on the 26th, or we'll have it when we get home. So you don't even have to worry about the fact that it's Christmas Day. For you, it's just another day at work. And I think that's a huge upside for the road team on Christmas games. Just as observation. Could be totally wrong, but I really believe that to be the truth.
Exactly.
The throw caught Worthy. Looking for the pylon. He's got it. Touchdown, Chiefs. Xavier Worthy.
Switching gears here, we have got to talk about Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown has created a seismic shift for the Kansas City Chiefs on offense. Since his return, the team has completely opened up the passing game, and Travis Kelce is finally open. We've had an entire season where Travis Kelce has been double-teamed. He's bracketed. He's triple-teamed sometimes. But with the speed of Hollywood Brown, along with the speed of Xavier Worthy, then you add DeAndre Hopkins, you cannot double-team Travis Kelce. So now suddenly, Travis Kelce, a guy that a lot of people thought was washed at 35 years old. Wrongly, by the way. We never said that on this show. We never would say that on this show. Everybody thought, oh, Travis Kelce's just getting old. No, Travis Kelce's getting double and triple teamed. But now that Hollywood Brown is back and that threat of having the speed and cutting ability of Hollywood Brown carving up the entire defense, that has opened things up drastically for everybody, but especially Travis Kelce. When you're double teamed every play, you're a 35-year-old tight end. That's a hard day at work. But when Hollywood Brown comes back, it changed the entire dynamic of this Chiefs offense. And I'm telling you, that going into the playoffs is going to be one of the most important things for this Chiefs team. I think a lot of people underestimated how important Hollywood Brown was to this Kansas City Chiefs football team. They looked at Hollywood Brown as a nice thing to have, but not a necessity. And I think what we've seen since the return of Hollywood Brown is he is 100% a necessity in Andy Reid's offense and for Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce is suddenly open all the time. Patrick is finding him in the best moments to give Hollywood a chance to make plays in open field. And while Hollywood Brown hasn't developed an ability to go downfield just yet, they're using him more on the short passing game. When he does, when we do see Hollywood Brown break one off and go deep, I think it's going to be one of the biggest celebrations you'll ever see in the Chiefs' kingdom. We want Hollywood Brown to be that guy, and we know he can. But right now what he's doing is he's opening everything up for everybody else. And what he's done, what he's developed for Travis Kelce has been nothing short of absolutely magnificent. And that is what makes Hollywood Brown one of the most important returns in the history of the Kansas City Chiefs, as the Chiefs are chasing history. The first team to ever three-peat in the NFL as Super Bowl champions. As they are chasing that, Hollywood Brown's return might be one of the most important things that has ever happened for this team. However, I think the most important thing that has happened for the Kansas City Chiefs is Kareem Hunt. His return, His ability to get short yardage and turn those short yardage plays into really solid gains has been a massive difference for the Kansas City Chiefs. And we saw it again today. Forget the numbers. Throw them out. I don't care what Kareem Hunt's numbers are. I care about what he does in key situations when the Kansas City Chiefs 100% need him. And he gets the ball across the goal line for a touchdown. He gets the first down on 4th and short. He does everything you need a short yardage back to do, and he does it brilliantly. And that softens the defense a little bit and makes them have to respect it. And what that does is open things up for Patrick Mahomes. It opens things up for the entire offense. So that's the beauty of having a guy like Kareem Hunt in there that can run roughshod over people, be a strong, short yardage back that beats guys up and turns 3-yard gains into 6-yard gains. And you might not think that's super important. You might want to see guys like Saquon Barkley. Yeah, everyone doesn't have a Saquon Barkley, but having a Kareem Hunt come off the couch in week 3. Right? Nobody even had him on their roster this year. The NFL, 31 other teams didn't think Kareem Hunt was good enough to help their teams. What a bunch of morons. And how wonderful is it for the Kansas City Chiefs to benefit from the idiocy of 31 other teams that didn't want to sign Kareem Hunt? How nice is it that the Kansas City Chiefs have a battering ram, short yardage back that opens up everything for Patrick Mahomes in the passing game because the defense has to respect it. Kareem Hunt has been the most important addition to a team that's chasing history, a three-peat in Super Bowls in the NFL, something that's never been done before, and Kareem Hunt 100% deserves credit for helping the Chiefs get to 15-1 and the number 1 seed clinched in the AFC. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, so we haven't got to Joshua Williams. He made a monster play at the end of the first half, a few of them. I'll tell you, Joshua Williams is developing into one hell of a defensive back for the Kansas City Chiefs. We won't spend a lot of time on him, but his ability, he went up and knocked a ball away today at the end of the first half that was almost a touchdown that would have put the Pittsburgh Steelers ahead. That would have been a problem. It would have been 14-7 at halftime, except Joshua Williams went sky high on a pass to Mike Williams and knocked it away. I have seen more plays from Joshua Williams lately that tell me he is a dynamic defensive back, and it gets me fired up for the playoffs because this secondary for the Chiefs, it's been a bit of a question mark throughout the years, or throughout this season. But this question mark throughout the season has become a strength because of guys like Joshua Williams, like Hicks. There is a number of players that have stepped up for the Kansas City Chiefs, and we are seeing this secondary become solidified at the best possible time.
Wilson, clean pocket. Intercepted.
Justin Reed.
Picked up by Justin Reed. He wisely takes a knee.
Few more things to get to here as we are here on Chiefs Chase. We got a little bit of time. So we got family Christmas, man. I got to look at the clock every once in a while to make sure we're on track, right? All right. Now, let's just go to Travis Kelce. We had a lot of stuff left to get to, but I want to get to Travis Kelce. Once again, we started with him, but I want to go more in depth. The most touchdown receptions in Chiefs history. The big dunk to make it happen and get the penalty that Tony Gonzalez said he's going to pay the fine for. I'll tell you what. Enjoy Travis Kelce while we have him. At 35 years old, he's still an incredibly dynamic player. He's making it work, and he seems as if he is a better all-around player this year than he's ever been because Travis Kelce's blocking has been phenomenal. The blocks that he made on the touchdown for Kareem Hunt were incredibly important. His blocks for Xavier Worthy when he comes around the end, incredibly important. So what we're seeing from Travis Kelce is a different kind of player than we're used to. A great player. Always been a great player, but mostly a receiving tight end. This year, we're seeing a Travis Kelce that's a more dynamic blocker than he's ever been. So at 35 years old, Travis Kelce has adjusted his game and become a more well-rounded tight end across the board. To pull that off at his age with the microscope on him every single play because so many people only know him as Taylor's boyfriend, for him to pull all of this off is absolutely inspirational for the rest of the NFL, and other players should really look to Travis Kelce and try to model their games and their careers after how successful Travis Kelce has been. You couldn't ask for a better day in Pittsburgh for Travis Kelce. He crosses 1,000 receptions in his career, which is just a phenomenal benchmark for a tight end or any pass catcher in the NFL, and Travis Kelce did it phenomenally. And he also broke the record for the most receiving touchdowns in Chiefs history while putting the big dunk over the goalpost. And we knew the flag was coming, but we did not care. Tony Gonzalez is going to pay that fine, and hats off to Travis Kelce, to Tony Gonzalez, and all the other Chiefs greats on that all-time receiving touchdowns list that is now topped by the Big Yeti, Travis Kelce. You absolutely love to see it. We're big Travis Kelce fans on this show, and when you see him come out and have a game like that, hey, playoff Travis might be back. Don't look twice. But what we're seeing out of 35-year-old Travis Kelce is starting to look like 28-year-old Travis Kelce. And if you don't get fired up about that, then I don't think you have a pulse. What else do we want to get to with Travis? That was it. Awesome game. I mean, really an awesome all-around football game for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's probably coming on the heels. That's the best part about this, by the way. This was the best game for the Kansas City Chiefs this season, and it's coming on the heels of their best game 4 days ago. Imagine how hard it is for the Kansas City Chiefs to go out and play their best game just 4 days ago against the Houston Texans, a playoff team, and then come out 4 days later against another playoff team in the Pittsburgh Steelers and play an even better football game, an even more complete football game, put the foot on the back of the neck of the Pittsburgh Steelers and crush them 29-10. That's a statement by the Kansas City Chiefs, and if I'm every other team in the AFC, knowing that I have to go through Arrowhead to get to the Super Bowl, I'm not sleeping well. I'll tell you that. If I'm Josh Allen, I am not sleeping well at night, knowing that I have to go through Arrowhead and a team that's playing out of their minds on fire right now to get to the Super Bowl. How could you? How could you be optimistic if you're any other team other than the Kansas City Chiefs right now? They all have issues. They all have weaknesses. The Chiefs have slight issues. The Chiefs have slight weaknesses, right? Offensive line, running the ball, it's a slight weakness right now. You move Joe Thuney out to left tackle. That's been great for Patrick Mahomes and his health, and that's what we care about. But we see a drop in the rushing game. But what else can you do? You know what I mean? Like, what do? You have to solidify the left tackle. Joe Thuney's the fourth left tackle the Chiefs have started this year. So Thuney has to be the guy. So you kind of have to figure out that interior line. Who's going to play left guard, or can you get the current guys to elevate their game before the playoffs? Get them in the weight room, maybe a little trend. We don't know. Just don't get caught. And no, I'm kidding. But for the offensive line, what they have to be, they're becoming. And that means protect Patrick Mahomes and give Kareem Hunt enough of a push that he's going to get those first downs on 3rd and 4th and short. Almost every time we see Kareem Hunt get the ball in a short yardage situation, the offensive line does get enough of a push so that Hunt can make some plays happen. Isaiah Pacheco hurt his ribs today. He's been struggling a bit since coming back, but the guy has like 8 screws and a metal plate in his leg after breaking it 3 months ago. I think the idea that you expect somebody to come back after that kind of injury and immediately make a big impact, it's not realistic. But now Isaiah Pacheco has 21 days to rest up. He can get his leg better. He can get his ribs right. I think Isaiah Pacheco, do not write him off. Pacheco has a ton of talent. He has all the tenacity in the world, and now he has 21 days to get right. And that's a huge, massive advantage for the Kansas City Chiefs. 21 days to get guys like Pacheco right, to get Chris Jones's calf in order. All the issues the Chiefs have right now can be solved in the next 21 days because that's how long they have before they play another meaningful football game. Let's see here. McDuffie strip. Oh my God. This Kansas City Chiefs defense is absolutely exploding at the right time. That's the best part about it. They're not just erupting as a football team. They're erupting at the right time. They're getting good at the right time. They're getting strong at the right time. The Chiefs defense, which has been phenomenal for the vast majority of the year, they've had issues in the secondary. They've had issues with the pass rush. Not anymore. Last 2 games, secondary and pass rush against last 3 games. Check 3 games. 3 games in 10 days, and the Chiefs played phenomenal football in all 3 of them. Do you have any idea how hard that is to do? To go into 3 games in 10 days of football. You're used to having 2 games in 14 days. The Chiefs had 3 games in 10 days and played lights out in all 3 games. That was one of the greatest stretches of football I've ever seen in my entire life. And the rest of the AFC better be terrified about what they have to go up against in the playoffs at Arrowhead. I would be absolutely mortified if I were a Bills fan right now. I would be sitting there crying myself to sleep, wondering why in the world did we have to be good at the same time that Patrick Mahomes existed in the NFL? Because if it weren't for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, the Bills would probably have a couple of championships. But they don't, because Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs do exist. And they are now 15-1. Clinching the number 1 seed, and the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC rolls through Arrowhead. That has to be the most upsetting thing that's ever happened for 31 other fan bases. And they can keep talking. They can keep saying, oh, the referees handed it to them. But that's a delusional, ridiculous take. Anyone who actually believes that, they're just coping. They don't actually think that the referees are giving the Chiefs preferential treatment unless they're a casual who's only looking at videos online posted by haters, because that's not realistic. The Chiefs get bad calls against them all the time. Ask Xavier Worthy. He tried to spread Christmas cheer today, throw some presents in a bag held by Hollywood Brown, and he got a 15-yard penalty. So I don't want to hear this about the referees helping the Chiefs, because you know what it is? Chiefs hatred has become a mental illness. That's what it is. Chiefs hatred has become a mental illness that should be identified by the National Health Services of Mental Health, because they hate the Chiefs so much, and it's just because they can't stop them. It's not because of the referees. It makes them feel better to blame referees, blame whoever you want to. But the Chiefs just went out and slapped a playoff team on the road in Pittsburgh to clinch the number 1 seed. What do you have to say about that, haters? Let me know in the comments, please. What do you have to say? What's your excuse now? Is it the Taylor Swift voodoo magic hurt you? Show me where the Taylor Swift voodoo magic hurt you. I really want to know. Where did the Taylor Swift voodoo magic hurt you the most? Because 15-1 didn't happen because of anything other than the Kansas City Chiefs being an unquestionable juggernaut football team in the NFL. And nobody, trust me, nobody in the AFC wants to go to Arrowhead to play right now, because the Chiefs are unbeatable. Couple more things to get to. The Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes connection is heating up at the perfect time. I'll only touch on this for a second because we've talked a lot about Patrick and Travis, but their connection is heating up at the absolute perfect time that you want to see it. They've been a little bit off the same page, right? Even last Saturday against the Texans. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes clearly not on the same page. Well, they got on the same page today against Pittsburgh. That was a big get-right game for Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, because they looked like they were thinking with the same brain again today, and sometimes this season it hasn't felt that way. So getting them back on the same page, heading into the playoffs, having the Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes connection heat up at the right time, if you don't get fired up about that, then I don't think you know what the hell is going on in the NFL. You don't have a connection as special as Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce anywhere else in the league. It does not exist. So that heating up at the perfect time, you got to get fired up about that, man. Now, I want to get to Hicks taunting. The Hicks taunting penalty was hilarious, man. I got to tell you, it was clear taunting. That was not a bad call at all. You had to throw that penalty. There was no question. But to taunt George Pickens after what was a game-sealing play by Hicks was unbelievably hilarious, because nobody in the NFL likes George Pickens. Like, nobody outside of Pittsburgh enjoys George Pickens. He is the biggest talker in the NFL. He never shuts up. He's trying to get after everybody. He is the most loud, obnoxious player in the NFL. And to watch him get stomped on by Hicks so he couldn't catch the ball, and then have Hicks stun on him with a little double thumbs down, was the most fun thing you could have imagined. And you know what? I'll take the penalty. I don't care. Double thumbs down on George Pickens. Anything that sticks in the craw of George Pickens gets me going because that guy never stops talking. We have seen him respond to tweets that are a year old trying to talk his stuff. So George Pickens, one of the most insufferable players in the NFL, watching him get stunted on by Hicks was 1,000% worth 15 yards. Because it was already after the change of possession. Had that happened before the change of possession, I would be singing a different tune. But in that moment, in that scenario, a 15-yard penalty was 1,000% worth it just to see George Pickens get stunted on while his team gets blown out at home. Too bad, so sad, George Pickens. Keep crying to the referees. Keep acting like the whole world's against you. Because at the end of the day, the fact is for George Pickens, he's just not good enough. And that's why he lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. That's why he got shut down by Hicks, because he's just not good enough. One more thing to get to here, as I really want to get to this. This is something that's been bothering me for the entire season. This narrative about the Kansas City Chiefs not scoring over 30 points in a game. We see it on every single graphic, every single game. Netflix did the same thing. They go, oh, look, it's the Chiefs and a bunch of terrible teams. They're the only ones that haven't scored over 30 points this year. The Chiefs have a methodical offense that takes a lot of time off the clock and uses a lot of plays. It's short passing. It's quick hits. They very rarely go for a big shot. They did today and hit Justin Watson on a nice one, but they very rarely go for a big shot. And why would you? They're winning games with the formula they have. I don't care about 30 points. Scoring over 30 points is 100% meaningless to anyone who actually cares about winning. Why would you care about scoring over 30 points unless you're a Chiefs hater and you're just trying to find a reason why the Chiefs aren't good enough? That's all you're doing. You're a hater and you're trying to find reasons why the Chiefs are bad, despite being 15-1, despite being the number one seed in the NFL, and despite kicking the absolute tar out of the Pittsburgh Steelers today in Pittsburgh. People still want to find a reason why the Chiefs aren't good enough because they need it. Chiefs hate has become one of the worst mental illnesses in the world, and they need to cope. So they find a stat. Oh, well, the Chiefs haven't scored over 30 points this year. They're frauds. That's the most insane stat that's just rolled out there by a bunch of people who don't understand football. Scoring over 30 points is 100% meaningless. You know what isn't meaningless? Being 15-1, being the number one seed in the AFC, making sure that the road to the Super Bowl for the AFC goes through Arrowhead. That's what matters. Scoring over 30 points only matters to nerds, losers, and people who are mentally ill with Chiefs hate. This has been Chiefs Chase. My name is Mike Bassano. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. Merry Christmas to you and yours. I hope you're having a phenomenal holiday season. Whatever holiday you celebrate, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and what better present could we all get on a beautiful December 25th of 2024 than a 29-10 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, a legitimate playoff team in Pittsburgh. The Chiefs moved to 15-1. They are now the number one seed. We'll have a midweek blitz coming up next week, leading you into the Broncos game. Even though it's meaningless, trust me, there will still be plenty of storylines to cover for the Kansas City Chiefs beyond just that game. There's always going to be a truckload of storylines for the Kansas City Chiefs, and we will cover every single one of them as we always have, which is always, once again, my promise to you. I'm Mike Bassano. This has been Chiefs Chase. Thank you guys so much for your messages, for your follows, for how much you support the show. I can't tell you how much it matters to me and how grateful I am to have every single one of you. It matters more than I could ever possibly express. Thank you. Have a phenomenal rest of your holiday and have a very happy new year.